Right now at 5, the city of Madison is setting forward a plan to find a new police chief, and now community members can be involved in the process. But first, Jacob is in this morning tracking out an alert day in the forecast as we head into the final weekend of March. And we've also got details out of Washington as the White House continues a push to take control of Greenland. This is Weekend Mornings. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Pizarski. It is Saturday, March 29th. Actor Brendan Gleeson turns 70 today. And let's start with a look at that first warm forecast. Jacob Montesano joins us. Going to be a little bit of a mess going into tomorrow, especially, isn't it, Jacob?
Yeah, overall the weekend, very rainy, but Sunday looks to be a lot rainier than today. But even with that, we are already seeing some showers and a few storms develop, a few lightning strikes out there, mainly for areas north of Madison and zooming further in from Viroqua to Hillsborough, Camp Douglas, Coloma. A lot of these areas seeing these scattered showers and storms at this time. And we honestly weren't really expecting the storms this early, but the fact that they have already formed goes to show you that we are expecting quite a bit of rainfall. So as we take a look at the forecast throughout the day, the most rain today will be for areas north of Madison in the central portion of Wisconsin. We also may see some light freezing rain and some sleet mix in with the showers, especially north of Madison. Still going to see that rain in far southern Wisconsin, just not quite as much as the central portion of the state will see today. However, for tomorrow, everyone will see plenty of rain. Now, as we take a look at the forecast throughout the day, temperatures will peak around noon, and then they're going to fall throughout the day. Again, just some light showers for Madison today. Winds will be only up to around 10 miles per hour. But as those winds shift, that's when the temperatures will drop. But for La Crosse, they're really going to drop starting pretty soon with highs only around the 50s with rain expected for much of the day. Now, the alert day is really for the entire weekend, but especially for Sunday. We're going to see quite a bit more rain on Sunday than what we're going to see today. I'll talk more in detail about that and talk about some snow that is expected on the back end of this system. All those details are still to come.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Well, topping our news, the process to appoint Madison's new police chief is now underway. In a statement Friday, the board members in charge of the hiring process of the chief say they plan to be done by September. Commissioners are also looking for input from the public. And if you'd like to participate in that, you can go to one of the board's regular meetings the second Monday of each month at 5:30 p.m. Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate Susan Crawford will recuse herself from a case dealing with her own election. This comes as Attorney General Josh Kaul is suing Elon Musk to try to prevent him from offering Wisconsinites money attached to the state Supreme Court race. The suit was filed in Dane County, where Crawford is an active judge and randomly assigned to her. The case now has been moved to Columbia County. Musk is expected to visit the state tomorrow, promising to give $1 million checks to 2 Wisconsin voters who signed his petition against activist judges. Congressman Derek Van Orden is celebrating a southwestern Wisconsin woman for becoming an official U.S. citizen. Miriam Lasky this month completed the path to citizenship after 8 long years. In a ceremony Friday night, Lasky said the moment she received her official status was a moment of profound liberation, and Van Orden saying Lasky's story encapsulates the promise of America.
For me, obtaining the U.S. citizenship is a testament to the power of hard work and dedication.
If you want to come here to make your life better, to make your family's life better, and then to become a contributing member of society, that's what the entire thing is. That is truly the American story. It's the American dream.
Van Orden also presented Lasky with an American flag that was flown over the U.S. Capitol. Vice President J.D. Vance has returned to the U.S. after a historic visit to Greenland, and it's the latest push by the Trump administration as it aims to take control of the semi-autonomous Danish territory. Bradley Blackburn has more on the Arctic intrigue.
Vice President J.D. Vance and Second Lady Usha Vance landed at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland Friday after traveling to Greenland. He spent more time in the air than on the ground, but still made history as the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit.
We need to ensure that America is leading in the Arctic because we know that if America doesn't, other nations will fill the gap where we fall behind.
Vance visited U.S. troops at a space base in the island's far northwest, but he wasn't welcomed by Greenland's officials. President Trump has said he wants the U.S. to take control of the territory, something Greenland does not want.
We have to have Greenland. It's not a question of, do you think we can do without it? We can't.
Greenland's new prime minister said there needs to be a dialogue with the U.S., and the vice president said he expects there will be a deal.
We do not think that military force is ever going to be necessary. We think we're going to be able to cut a deal, Donald Trump style, to ensure the security of this territory, but also the United States of America.
At the White House, President Trump was also focused on the North. With the U.S. and Canada locked in a trade war over tariffs, he spoke for the first time with Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney.
I've always loved Canada. We had a very good conversation.
We agreed to begin comprehensive negotiations about a new economic and security relationship between our two sovereign countries.
New tariffs against goods from Canada are still set to take effect April 2nd. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
And the legal fight over the Trump administration's plans to downsize the government continues here in the courts. On Friday, a judge blocked the dismantling of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, but separately, an appeals court lifted an order blocking more DOGE cuts to USAID. Back overseas, the death toll from an earthquake in Myanmar has risen to more than 1,000. Crews in the South Asian country, as well as neighboring Thailand, are searching for survivors under the rubble of collapsed buildings. The 7.7 magnitude quake shook the region on Friday, and local news reports say that more than 2,000 were injured and 30 are still missing. Taking a look at Wall Street, all three major indexes closed the week in the red. The big headline is that the benchmark S&P 500 is down more than 5% so far this year, and that puts it on track for the worst quarter since September of 2022. Investors are weighing stubborn inflation data, weakening consumer sentiment, and anxiety over tariffs. And here are Friday's closing numbers. The Dow with a dive of almost 716 points, the Nasdaq tumbles 481, and the S&P loses 112. And with news like that, you would think that consumer spending and everything around the board is bad, but consumer spending in February actually remained relatively solid. According to the latest information from the Commerce Department, consumer spending rose by 0.4% in February. The data also shows the personal consumption expenditures price index increased 2.5% last month from a year ago. However, some economists are warning things could be changing. They say the Trump administration's new tariffs on auto imports and other levies could result in higher prices overall. Mass layoffs are coming to the Department of Veterans Affairs. VA Secretary Doug Collins says the department is aiming to cut its staff by some 80,000, which is about 17% of its workforce. According to an internal memo, reorganization plans will be submitted by April 13th, and now employees are worried about the impact these cuts will have on veterans' mental health.
This is going to affect all patient care as a whole. I mean, from the call centers, from eligibility to benefits, to the crisis line, to member services lines.
I think it's going to be hard to make sure that no calls go unanswered.
The cuts are set to be officially implemented in June. Back here in Wisconsin, Governor Tony Evers vetoed Friday a Republican-authored bill that would have revived old test score standards. State School Superintendent Jill Underly changed the standardized testing benchmarks for school district performance report cards this past year. Republicans argue the changes watered down standards to artificially inflate grades and making it harder to compare Wisconsin students to their peers around the rest of the country. The governor said while he's been critical of the process, he objects to legislatures trying to undermine the state superintendent's authority and independence. And more local news, bond has now been set at $1 million for the man charged in the murder of 24-year-old Brooke Stratton. James Barnes Morris had an initial appearance in court Friday afternoon. He is charged with first-degree intentional homicide with a domestic abuse enhancer in connection to Stratton's death. Madison police found her body in a pond on the UW-Madison Arboretum property just days after she was reported missing. Barnes Morris is pleading not guilty. 10 past the hour now, still ahead this morning. A popular outdoors and recreation show returns this weekend, and we'll have all those details next. Plus, Jacob is back with a full check of the first warn forecast. This is Weekend Mornings. And welcome back. The Wisconsin Open Season Sportsman's Expo is back this weekend in the Wisconsin Dells. The show features over 300 exhibitors and gives attendees the chance to hear from industry insiders and to learn. It is taking place today and tomorrow at the Kalahari Resort in Wisconsin Dells. Single-day tickets are $15 for adults, and kids under 12 are getting in for free. Well, Jacob, it is a good weekend to probably spend inside at an expo like that, isn't it?
Yeah, especially with the temperature swing that is expected. Definitely going to be a lot colder than the 78 we saw yesterday, which did break the record, I do want to point out. But obviously our attention is now focused on the alert day that's really in the forecast starting now, but especially later tonight into Sunday. We are already seeing those showers develop for parts of the area, but everyone will see heavy rain tomorrow, possibly a few storms and some minor snow on the back end of it. So looking at the three things you need to know with this storm, scattered rain today through tonight and most of tomorrow. Could see a little bit of a freezing rain to sleet mix for areas north of Madison. But by the time we get to Sunday evening and especially Sunday night, that rain will transition to snow for everybody, clearing out by Monday. But it is going to be much cooler to start next week for Sunday through Tuesday especially. There even is a small chance of severe weather, mainly for areas southeast of Madison. Really, the only hazard will be some minor hail and wind. The tornado risk is pretty much zero for our area, but don't be surprised if you do see some minor severe weather as we head into the morning on Sunday. So tracking all this out, we're going to continue to see some scattered showers and storms, especially during those afternoon hours. We're already seeing them right now for central Wisconsin and areas, again, from the Dells on northward. You folks will likely see the most rainfall today. That includes you folks in La Crosse and Eau Claire. Still going to see some showers in southern Wisconsin, but they do look to be pretty broken up for the daytime today. But as we get to the overnight hours, we'll see it kind of spread out more across southern Wisconsin. Also notice all these pink. That's likely going to be a little bit of freezing rain and sleet mixed in with that rainfall. Again, mainly for the areas north of Madison and central Wisconsin. And as we get into Sunday, this is the best chance to see the heavy rainfall where we'll possibly see on and off, not just showers, but also quite possibly several rounds of thunderstorms. Again, the severe weather will mostly stay south of Madison, but we're still going to see plenty of rainfall for those that even don't see the severe weather. And as we get into Sunday evening, notice that rain getting replaced by some of that freezing rain to sleet even more. And further off to the northwest than that, you folks in Eau Claire will start to see the snow even before sunset Sunday. But overnight Sunday is when that rain will get replaced by snow for the rest of the area. And pretty much everyone will see at least a little bit of snowfall. Not going to last for quite a while, but it will potentially accumulate very briefly, but also very minorly, I should point out. And as we look at the rainfall accumulation, that's going to be in abundance, possibly over 2 inches of rain for some locations. And obviously, the rainfall forecast could change depending on where the thunderstorms line up. And as far as the snowfall accumulation, again, it's not going to be a lot because it's not going to last very long, but we could see up to 1 inch of snow, maybe a little bit more for the further north you're located. Now, as we take a look at the full 7 to 10 day forecast, we have another solid chance of precipitation on Wednesday. I'll talk more about that a little bit later, but we may be seeing another 1 to 2 inches of rain from that. So over the next 7 days, we're going to see plenty of rain, that's for sure.
All right, Jacob, thank you. The unofficial start to wedding season is this week, and those who have paid for one know that they can be very expensive. The average wedding in the U.S. costs more than $30,000, and now event planners are warning prices could go up because of tariffs. Big day essentials like gowns, decor, and even stationery for menus and invitations are largely imported from China. And that's not to mention wine and liquor often come from Europe, and 80% of cut flowers arrive from overseas. With costs adding up, wedding planners are urging couples to plan ahead.
If you want real flowers, maybe you'll do real flowers, but maybe you won't do this, the string quartet.
Experts recommend booking and paying vendors as soon as possible to really lock down the rates, and be sure to read contracts carefully to understand clauses about price fluctuations. Madison area restaurants are stepping in to help for this year's Food Fight Against Hunger campaign. The Food Fight Restaurant Group, made up about 15 restaurants in Madison, is partnering with Second Harvest Food Bank of Southern Wisconsin. In April, $1 from every item ordered off the special menus at those restaurants will go to fighting hunger. This year, the goal is $15,000, which the food bank says would go a long way.
For every $10 that we bring into Second Harvest, we can actually provide $24 worth of groceries to families right here in southwestern Wisconsin. And the reality is nowadays, especially since the pandemic, there's more need out in the community than ever before.
Guests will also be able to add a donation to their bill or ask to add a donation for phone and carryout orders. A Madison area nonprofit is launching a new program to help people facing barriers to employment. This week, Goodwill of South Central Wisconsin began its Launchpad program. The initiative gives participants facing barriers to employment 6 months of paid, hands-on work experience, as well as tailored job readiness training. The program's ultimate goal is to help people transition these opportunities into long-term, stable, and sustainable careers.
Well, I think everybody comes in with a different set of needs, and so we'll take time to get to know each person and develop a specific plan with their needs. So some people just need some basic skills. Maybe it's customer service, maybe it's basic, production type skills. It'll be different for everybody. And so we're just starting with where people are to help them grow and learn.
The program is open to people 18 or older who are chronically unemployed, formerly incarcerated, refugees, disabled, or are facing other significant employment barriers. Coming up now on 520, still ahead, got some entertainment news and why Selena Gomez says she thinks women have it harder than men on social media. Plus, Will Loper has the 3 things you need to watch on this last weekend of March. Stick with us.
So on top of the weekend system that we're going to be seeing, we have another very good chance of precipitation for Tuesday into Wednesday. So starting Tuesday afternoon, we will see a little bit of a wintry mix begin this system. But by the time we get to the later overnight hours and Wednesday morning, we will see mostly rain. And rain could be heavy for possibly a few hours Wednesday morning. We even could see some thunderstorms. Small chance of severe weather again for this system. Now it will clear out, probably at least the consistent rain might clear out by Wednesday afternoon with some lingering precipitation for Wednesday evening. But as we take a look at the amount of precipitation we're expecting, this is from this weekend. But if we add on the system for Tuesday into Wednesday, we could be talking about nearly 3 inches of rainfall over the next 7 days, which overall is not the worst news considering we do have a drought still impacting southern Wisconsin. But we definitely could see some minor flood concerns with this amount of rainfall. So timing it all out, very likely going to see rain throughout the weekend. Get a little bit of a break from Monday into Monday night before more precipitation moves in Tuesday night and Wednesday.
Jacob, thank you. In entertainment news, Selena Gomez is saying she thinks women face more criticism on social media than men. Speaking to the On Purpose with Jay Sheedy podcast, the singer said women have it much harder. The 32-year-old said it's due to appearance, something Gomez thinks people comment on more with women. She says even though she doesn't currently have social media apps on her phone, she does appreciate, though, the good side of it. The head of Amazon's TV and film division, Jen Salke, is stepping down after 7 years on the job. Mike Hopkins, the head of Prime Video and Amazon MGM Studios, announced the departure in a staff memo. He said she will not be replaced. Instead, the studio will now operate distinct film and TV studios with their respective heads reporting directly to him. The memo says Salke isn't going far, moving to production, beginning a new entity with a deal with Amazon for both TV and film. Well, as we tell you every week, there's never a shortage of films and shows to stream. Our Will Loper shares a few of the best in this weekend's 3 Things to Watch.
You tramped all the way from Minnesota. Why is that? I wanted to catch a spark.
See the beginnings of a musical legend in A Complete Unknown, newly streaming on Hulu.
Who wrote this?
He did.
If you go with Snowflake Storm.
Timothy Chalamet portrays Bob Dylan in the early 60s, from his arrival in New York to his rise to fame.
When's the new album out?
Soon. 200 people in that room. Each one wants me to be somebody else. They should just let me be.
Let you be what?
Whatever it is they don't want me to be.
Every day, I get to wake up in the best place on earth. Holland, Michigan.
Watch secrets unravel in Holland, newly streaming on Amazon Prime Video.
It may seem like we have everything all together, but right under the surface, it's like we're being strangled.
Everything seems perfect in the marriage between Nancy and Fred. But when Nancy, played by Nicole Kidman, suspects Fred of infidelity, she begins to investigate.
This is weird.
God, I love good mysteries.
Sometimes in life, you just gotta follow the clues wherever they take you.
I'm honored, obviously, to be one of the people that gets to choose, which movies get made and which ones don't. That's huge.
And for a comedy on a Hollywood lot, check out The Studio, newly streaming on Apple TV+.
Matt, I get it. You want to make great art and make $1 billion doing it. Well, guess what? That never happens, and you're going to screw everything up trying to make it happen.
Seth Rogen stars as a newly appointed studio head in over his head as he tries to make movies and keep everyone happy.
We love new ideas.
Just not too new, because we got a pretty tight formula that we got to hit. I wouldn't say it's a formula so much as a structure that we 100% know works, so we're going to do it over and over again.
Those are the 3 things you need to watch, and this is Will Loper for Weekend Mornings.
And still ahead, we've got a look at today's top headlines and weather. Stick with us. This is Weekend Mornings. Right now, 5:30, Elon Musk facing a lawsuit from Wisconsin's Attorney General over offers to pay people to sign a petition for the Tuesday election. Also, an earthquake shakes southeastern Asia with the death toll continuing to rise this morning. Then later, more local news on the search for a police chief of Sun Prairie, residents meeting the finalists last night. This is Weekend Mornings, and once again, we thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Pazorski here on this Saturday, March 29th. And Jacob Montesano joins us with a look at the forecast. Got an alert day tomorrow, don't we, Jacob?
Yeah, the alert day is really going to kind of begin today, but mostly tomorrow. We are going to see plenty of rainfall, a little bit of rain today as we're already seeing some of that rain develop right now. And zooming in, we actually are seeing a few lightning strikes as well, mainly impacting the central portion of the state. But for those of you from Viroqua to Coloma, there is quite a bit of rainfall possibly moving through at this hour, and this is really just scratching the surface of what we're going to be seeing over the weekend. So looking at the forecast for today, the rain is mostly, at least the heavy rain, will stay north of Madison. Still going to see some scattered showers in southern Wisconsin, but much more consistent rain in the central portion of the state. And if you look, you can see a little bit of that pink that represents some sleet to freezing rain possibly mixing in with the rainfall for areas in the central portion of Wisconsin. So definitely could see some slippery roads with that possibly falling. And again, those of you up in Eau Claire going to see plenty of rainfall today as well. But again, southern Wisconsin, just a few light showers, and overall the rain will be a lot more broken up in southern Wisconsin. But we still are going to see some rain likely, with those temperatures peaking around noon and then falling throughout the day. And as we look at La Crosse's forecast, we are going to see those temperatures start to fall a lot earlier for you folks, possibly falling as early as 9 to 10 a.m. And again, rain expected throughout much of the day. But today is kind of the lesser of 2 days over the weekend in terms of how much rain we will see. So I'll talk more detail about your Sunday forecast coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Our top story this half hour, Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate Susan Crawford will be recusing herself from a case dealing with her own election. This comes as Attorney General Josh Kaul is suing Elon Musk to try to prevent him from offering Wisconsinites money attached to the state Supreme Court race. The suit was filed in Dane County, where Crawford is an active judge and randomly assigned to her. The case now has been moved to Columbia County. Musk is expected to visit the state tomorrow, promising to give $1 million checks to 2 Wisconsin voters who signed his petition against activist judges. The death toll from the earthquake in Myanmar has risen to more than 1,000. Crews in the South Asian country, as well as neighboring Thailand, are searching for survivors this morning under the rubble of collapsed buildings. The 7.7 magnitude quake shook the region on Friday. President Trump saying the U.S. is going to be helping.
Yeah, we're going to be helping. We've already alerted the people. Yeah, it's terrible what's happened. It's a real bad one, and we will be helping. We've already spoken with the country.
According to local reports, more than 2,000 people were also injured and 30 are still missing. Myanmar is one of the poorest countries in the world. Back here in Wisconsin, Democrat Governor Tony Evers says the Trump administration has alerted him the state will not receive millions of dollars in already approved funding for health services. The governor says the administration sent him this notice of plans to take away $210 million meant for local emergency, mental health, and addiction resources. Some of the affected resources include the suicide crisis line, access to fentanyl test kits, local emergency response teams, and the state's immunization registry. Congressman Derek Van Orden is celebrating a southwestern Wisconsin woman for becoming an official U.S. citizen. Miriam Lasky this month completed the path to citizenship after 8 long years. It was in a ceremony Friday night that Lasky said the moment she received her official status was a moment of profound liberation, and Van Orden saying Lasky's story encapsulates the promise of America.
For me, obtaining the U.S. citizenship is a testament to the power of hard work and dedication.
If you want to come here to make your life better, to make your family's life better, and then to become a contributing member of society, that's what the entire thing is. That is truly the American story. It's the American dream.
Van Orden also presented Lasky with an American flag at the ceremony that was flown over the U.S. Capitol. Continuing coverage, bond has been set at $1 million for the man charged in the murder of 24-year-old Brooke Stratton. James Barnes Morris had an initial appearance in court Friday afternoon. He is charged with first-degree intentional homicide with a domestic abuse enhancer in connection to Stratton's death. Madison police found her body in a pond on the UW-Madison Arboretum property just days after she was reported missing. Barnes Morris pleaded not guilty. This morning, Madison police are investigating what they are calling a weapons violation. This happening in the area around the Hilldale Shopping Center on the city's west side. They say the incident happened this morning at around 1:15 and is isolated. They further say there is no threat to the public. To more local news, the process to appoint Madison's new police chief is now underway. In a statement Friday, the board members in charge of hiring the chief said they plan to be done by September. Commissioners are also looking for input from the public. If you'd like to participate in that, you can go to one of the board's regular meetings on the second Monday of each month at 5:30 p.m. And the city of Sun Prairie is also searching for a new police chief. Last night, the city hosted a public forum introducing residents to the 2 finalists for the position. People packing the city hall to learn more about them, with Mayor Paul Esser saying he's proud the community showed up to take an interest.
I really am proud of this town. We have our history of doing this. It shows you how concerned they are about the caretaking of this community.
Sun Prairie's Police and Fire Commission is responsible for selecting the next chief. They say a decision will be made in the near future. Time now is 5:36. Still ahead, Jacob has a quick check of today's forecast. Plus, here's a look at today's day in history.
I do want to take just a moment to talk about the temperatures. We did see a record yesterday with the high of 78, breaking the previous record that was 76 set back in 1986. But we're not going to see temperatures quite that warm going forward. We are going to see those temperatures cool down quite a bit for Sunday through Tuesday, but they are going to rebound for the end of next week, but they're only going to rebound into the 50s. So we're likely not going to see any temperatures quite as warm as they were yesterday going forward. Might get close to the middle and upper 60s for Wednesday. And then by the time we get to the beginning of the following week, we may be even cooler. Now, obviously, you know, it is March and April. On average, temperatures will continue to warm up, so we'll see those 70s return eventually. But even looking at the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, we are seeing just near average temperatures expected for Wisconsin. But for this time of the year, by then, that'll be in the 50s. So still fairly comfortable. Just for those of you that want to see the 70s, you'll have to wait just a little bit longer to see more of it.
Yeah, I had off yesterday, and the high temperature, it was like, what, 71 yesterday?
Almost was too hot for me, I'll be honest.
Oh my goodness. It was perfect temperature yesterday, Jake.
It was perfect in the evening when like the temperatures cooled down just a little bit. But even though those afternoon hours with the sun shining, I definitely was hot outside.
I'm one of those that enjoys it, so this cool off is not going to be appreciated.
Yeah, no, and the snow will definitely be a rude awakening for you then.
All right, well, more to look forward to. Thank you. Well, got some more news. People in the U.S. are moving a lot less frequently than they used to. According to Redfin, the average homeowner stays in the same home for 11.8 years. It was in 2005 when it was just 6.5 years in that same home. But that number can vary significantly and really across the country. In California, it is nearly 20 years in the same home. The reasons why are pretty simple. Homeowners with lower interest rates don't want to take on new loans with higher rates to purchase another home. And in California, property taxes are only allowed to increase 2% per year as long as you own the home. But if you buy a new one, it resets to current values. Well, privacy and data experts are sounding the alarm these days for users of the genealogy service 23andMe to delete their data from the site. It was earlier this week when the company declared bankruptcy. Our Arman Rahman sat down with some of those experts to find out how and why your information isn't protected.
For the past 19 years, people have sent their DNA samples to 23andMe. The company's labs have then used those DNA samples to uncover family trees, medical history, and more. But now that they're filing for bankruptcy, experts say you should step in before your personal information is handed off to someone else.
Healthcare providers and your insurers, advertisers and marketers on the dark web.
That's because information technology expert Dorothea Salo says that cheek swab in the hands of biotech startups like 23andMe is not protected by HIPAA laws and becomes a corporate asset.
They are irresponsible with data. They are because they can be legally. They're not regulated the way that your doctor is.
Salo says health insurance companies can find things about you they legally don't have to keep secret.
And that they can legally use to charge you more.
And on the dark web, that genetic data could be used in hate crimes.
So if that gets into the hands of somebody who, for whatever awful reason, wants to hurt people like you, suddenly they know to identify you as part of that group.
Salo encourages anyone who used 23andMe to try and log in. Go to Settings, scroll to 23andMe Data, click View, Delete Data, and Permanently Delete Data. If you want to find out more about your personal history, the Wisconsin Historical Society says they have the largest genealogy collection in the country. They also offer free genealogy consultation.
Helping craft a research plan, to assisting with locating a specific record, or giving some advice on busting down a brick wall that people are working on with their genealogy research.
Salo hopes this can be a word of warning that can be passed on to mobile apps, health trackers, and more.
Really step back.
Reporting in Madison, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
23andMe says it does not share information with health insurance companies, employers, or public databases without users' consent and with law enforcement only if required by a subpoena. It is 5:45, still ahead. This weekend, Zach checks in with the morning sports report. Plus, Jacob is back with another full check of the first storm forecast. Keep it here. This is Weekend Mornings.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a look at the alert day information that's expected for this weekend. Mostly going to start later tonight and into Sunday. We're still going to see some rainfall today, but the rain will be much heavier for your Sunday. And the reason we have the alert day is not just for the heavy rain, but also the possibility of a few storms, minor chance of severe weather as well. And we also will see some snow on the back end of this system. So looking at the three things you need to know with this system: scattered rain for today through tomorrow. Again, the rain will be a lot heavier tomorrow, with that rain transitioning to snow later in the day Sunday. Much cooler temperatures then are expected to start next week, and obviously much cooler compared to the 70s we saw yesterday. Like I mentioned, we also have a small chance of severe weather, a marginal risk for areas southeast of Madison. Really, the only hazard would be hail and wind. We are pretty much at a 0% chance of a tornado, but definitely don't be surprised, especially for Sunday morning, we could be seeing some minor severe weather. So for today, again, the most rain will be for areas north of Madison, but also notice some of that rain may be mixed in with some freezing rain and sleet for areas in central Wisconsin. So some slick spots are definitely possible there. Still going to see some rain for Madison and surrounding areas today, but it will be on the lighter side. As we get to the overnight hours, we'll see the rain become a bit heavier in southern Wisconsin. Meanwhile, during all this, central Wisconsin will still be seeing consistent rainfall that could be heavy at times. And then for Sunday, like I mentioned, the rain will be a lot heavier, on and off showers and storms, possibly a few rounds of thunderstorms for a few locations. Really going to continue for the morning into the early afternoon. We'll get a little bit of a break during the middle of the afternoon before we see more precipitation back into the area. And then that is when that rain will be transitioning into snowfall, and we'll see a round of snow before the precipitation comes to an end by the time we get to Monday morning. So as we take a look at the amount of rainfall that's expected, we could be seeing over an inch, if not close to 2 inches across the board. It really depends on where those thunderstorms line up, but overall, the entire area going to see plenty of rainfall. And as we take a look at the amount of snow we're expecting, that snowfall does look to dissipate a little bit as it pushes southeast. So areas further north and northwest could see maybe up to 2 inches, but much of the area will max out at around 1 inch. Madison probably going to max out at around a ½ inch of snow. But looking at the full 7 to 10 day forecast, we have another very good chance of rainfall for Wednesday before things do look to calm down by the time we get to the end of next week and next weekend. But if we add in the amount of rainfall we're going to see Wednesday, we could be talking about nearly 3 inches of rainfall over the next 6 to 7 days. So definitely going to see plenty of it. Might see some minor flooding concerns. However, we still are under a drought for parts of the area. So overall, this rainfall still not, the worst news we could see.
It's almost been a week since Wisconsin women's hockey won their 8th national championship game. And while the other 7 teams will all have their place in program history, this group skated their way to the top of the record books. Not only did they win the WCHA regular season and tournament title to go along with a natty, this group of Badgers finished with 38 wins, one more than the 2011 team for the most in program history.
I think about all the greats on that team, and I'm like, wow, they had quite the college careers, and they're still thriving and doing well in the pro league and whatnot. But yeah, it's definitely something I'm gonna process over the next week and months, and be like, wow, that was quite the season. We want to try to do that again and have that success. But this group, no other group I'd rather do it with.
Beautiful day for some Badgers softball. Wisconsin hosting Iowa in their home opener. Second inning, Badgers up 2-0 and looking for more. Olivia Bark rips one down the first base line to drive in another run, and just like that, it's 3-0 Wisco. Well, that lead would grow. Next inning, it's Kendra Lewis, and she shows why she's a member of the Badger Bomb Squad. Now, the Hawkeyes would strike back, but Wisconsin goes on to win their home opener in a walk-off. 8-7 the final. They'd also win Game 2 of the doubleheader. And that's it for morning sports. Have a great day.
Thank you, Zach. And still ahead on Weekend Mornings, got some reason to visit a mom and pop business today. Plus, here's a look at what's coming up on CBS Saturday morning.
Coming up, we'll have your eye opener in all this morning's headlines. Plus, her art has been shown from classical galleries in Florence, Italy, to Miami's renowned Bass Museum. We catch up with Rachel Feinstein to learn more about her journey from muse to artist. Then you won't find chips and guac at this local Phoenix restaurant. Instead, Chef L.T. Smith's Chilty features an ever-changing menu that blends together traditional Mexican cuisine with traditional soul food flavors. We have the story and delicious result on the dish. All that, plus a conversation and performance from Lucy Dacus in our Saturday session. It's all just ahead on CBS Saturday morning.
Finally this morning, some reason to check out your local shops, as today is recognized as National Mom and Pop Business Day. The day is observed every year on March 29th. Small businesses are really the backbone of America's economy, and mom and pop businesses are as American as apple pie. The National Day is not just for family-run businesses, but also an opportunity to honor all small business owners and a chance to give the ones in your community some extra attention. Definitely want to probably do that today instead of tomorrow with the rain in the forecast, don't you, Jacob?
Yeah, unfortunately, though, we have rain in the forecast today as well, at least for parts of the area. I mean, pretty much everyone should see rain at some point, but it won't be quite as heavy as it will be tomorrow. Temperatures will also be a little bit warmer today. Tomorrow, they will be on the cooler side, and then even cooler for Monday. And then as we head into Tuesday, still going to be cool before warming up ahead of that other system on Wednesday. So overall, again, a very messy weekend, especially later tonight into Sunday, and then that rain will transition to snow Sunday night, and then it will end pretty early Monday, probably before sunrise Monday. So although it will be cool Monday, looks like it will be fairly dry, and any snow that does accumulate will melt very quickly because the ground obviously very warm, and it will be sunny on Monday. So again, not as nice as we were yesterday, but unfortunately, that's how it goes.
Thank you, Jacob. We're back here at 8 o'clock. See you then.